Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Mohan. Welcome to today's webinar. And in today's webinar, we are going to talk about the entire functionality of how payroll works in Kredily. And in the next 15-20 minutes, you are going to learn how to process payroll, how to generate pay slips, how to add all the salary components, and how to define PFESI. Everything that you need to know about payroll will be taught to you in today's webinar. If you have any questions, I would request you to type in your questions towards the chat section in your YouTube. And also, before we begin, I request all of you to download Kredily's mobile application, the smartphone application. If you're using an Android phone, go to Play Store and type Kredily, and you can download the application from there. Everything we are going to discuss on this call, you will be able to do that on your mobile app also. So having said that, let us begin this webinar. So as this is dedicatedly about payroll, I'm going into the payroll module. I request all of you to follow me, and any questions, you can write in your questions. I'm going to take all of your questions towards the end of the webinar session. So firstly, you will have to define your settings. So for that, I will be going to the advanced settings option. So advanced settings is basically the preferences that you have for your organization, and the same thing will be defined in the system as well. Basically आप system को समझाएंगे कि क्या settings आपके हैं, and how exactly you want the system to function, and how is your PF calculated and all that. So P frequency, pay cycle, ये सारे चीज आप यहाँ पर set कर पाएंगे. These are all basic things, self-explanatory things. I'm not going to explain this one by one, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask the questions. वीकली ऑफ इंक्लूड करना है कि नहीं करना है, हॉलीडेज इंक्लूड करना है कि नहीं करना है, एंड क्या आपको टैक्स प्रोजेक्शंस दिखाना है या नहीं दिखाना है, टैक्स कंप्यूटेशन इफ यू वांट टू शो इट और नॉट. So those are the basic concepts. Then you have your PF. You can define your PF in such a way that system can continue the preferences that you have been following so far as well. If you're processing payroll for the first time, you do not have to worry. जो भी आप दिसंबर तक करके आए हैं वही चीज़ यहाँ पर जनवरी से भी आप डिफाइन कर पाएंगे सिस्टम में. लाइक बेसिक का 12% और एंटायर ग्रॉस का 12% एक्सेप्ट HRA, फिक्स्ड अमाउंट डालना है या कस्टम फॉर्मूला डालना है, वॉट एवर इट इज you can define. Then you can also enable statutory minimum if at all you want to clock your PF to 1,800 rupees per month. Employer PF को आप include कर सकते हैं या exclude कर सकते हैं CTC से. Individual override also should be turned on. It's recommended that it is turned on, but again it is your preference. इसको I'll be saving. Then same goes with your ESI as well. So in ESI, यहाँ पर it's predefined. ESI cannot be changed. It's 3.25% of the gross salary for the employer and 0.75% of the gross salary for employee. Okay, and individual override options also is there. If you want, you can turn it on. You can include the employer's ESI contribution, or you can exclude it from the CTC. Then comes your overview option. This is where you will be able to see which employee's PF number is what, and PF is on or off, how much is the PF annually, and how much is the PF monthly, whether ESI is applicable or not. Everything can be seen here. You can also edit the PF information by clicking on the edit button. Even if you want to turn off PF for a particular employee, you can turn it off from here. Then comes your PT settings. There's nothing much to do here. Just turn on PT, and system will take PT from the location that has been defined for the employee. Just make sure that you define work location for your employee. Then comes your declaration settings. Here you can choose whether the declaration window should be monthly or yearly. Mostly it will be given as yearly, but if you have a monthly declaration option in your organization, you can enable that as well. And you can select which employees to apply for. You can either apply it for all employees, or you can select employees and apply only for selected employees. That's your preference. Then comes a very important subsection, I would say. This is called as component creation section. This is where you will create all the components that's required for your organization to create a salary structure. So we have 4 different categories here. One is your base component category. This is where you will be defining all the components. I wouldn't say defining, these are the base components which is required for any organization to create a salary structure. So your basic, you have HRA, you have PF, ESI, special allowance. These are also called as statutory components, so this cannot be eliminated from your structure. Then you have your recurring salaries components. Recurring salary components, like the name itself says, these are the components which will be recurring in your employee's salary every single month. You can define or you can create any number of recurring salary components. We have already created the components which are frequently required by the organizations in India. Medical allowance, vehicle allowance, uniform allowance, everything is already created. If you want, you can create another one. Now, if you want to edit the already created component, just click on the component and you can define it as per your preference. You can put the value as 15,000 a flat value, or if you want, you can formulate that as well. So now let me formulate it. I can say 10% of CTC, for example, or you can say 20% of CTC, whatever number you want to give. And you can also make it a slab-wise value. Like if my salary is between 0 to 3 lakhs, this component should be 25,000 a year. And if my salary is between 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs, this component should be 35,000 a year. So like this, you can make it a slab-wise component as well. So same way, you can create any number of components that's required by your organization. Same way, you can create variable components as well. Variable components, recurring components are one and the same. The only difference is that recurring component comes every single month, and the variable components will come only if you define or only if you want that component to be a part of that current month or any particular month's salary. For example, your festive bonus or annual bonus or incentives. So these components, there is a particular frequency that these components will be added to the structure. For example, if it is an annual bonus, it comes only once in a year. If it is a half yearly bonus, it comes only twice a year or once every 6 months. You can define when it should be started, when it should be given. You can define that. And tax deduction also, you can either deduct tax in one shot on that particular month itself, or you can distribute the tax across the rest of the financial year. And defining the component is also the same. You can define it as per your preference. Yeah. So that's about variable components. You also have ad hoc components. Ad hoc components are the components which are basically not defined in your salary structure. You have ad hoc earning components and your ad hoc deduction components. Both are available. So you can choose whichever is, you can create whichever is required, whichever component is required for you to create as an ad hoc. There's no limitation on that as well. So one thing, any salary components, there is no limitation on the creation of salary components if you are in the paid subscription of Kredily. Then the next option is your payout option. This is where you will add the bank details of your employees. You can either click on edit and add the bank details of all of your employees, or you can just click on import and upload an Excel sheet in bulk. If you want to upload bank details of all of your employees in one shot, you can upload it through an Excel sheet in bulk. Then you have 8 different payslip formats. You can choose whichever suits the best for your organization. Depending on the format, the way the data is displayed will change, and also the YTD values will be shown in a certain formats, will not be shown in a certain formats, depending on your preference. Please choose it. Then the next option is very, very important, and also I would like to mention that this is one of the coolest feature that any HRMS could introduce, I would say. This is where you as an organization can pay salaries to your employees within minutes. Within just a click of a button, you can pay salaries to your employees. We have created a virtual virtual banking in Kredily, so that you can use this to credit salary for your employees through Kredily itself. So we have called it as KredPay. This is a virtual banking. So every account will have a KredPay account. You can create a KredPay. I'm so sorry, guys. You can integrate with KredPay directly from here. So if you go to bank integration, you will get an option to integrate with KredPay. I have already integrated. If you have not integrated, you will get an option to integrate. So make sure to check out this option. This is one of the simplest and coolest feature as mentioned, and also the most liked feature in Kredily by our users. So salary transfer is almost instant with this feature. So I would request all of you to check it out. If you have any questions on this, Please leave your number, name. I'll be more than happy to connect with you after this webinar session and help you understand this better and deeper. So moving forward, the next option that we need to be working on is the setup payroll option. So here is where you will be gathering all the components that's created to create a salary structure. Now we created all the components in the component section. So now just click on create new structure, create a structure, and add all the components that is needed for your salary structure. Now let's say I want basic HRA, everything is already defined. If you want to make changes, you can make changes over here. You can just say CTC is 50%, CTC into 60%, or whatever number you want to put, you can put it here. And you can also add another salary component by clicking on the add another salary component option, which is in the bottom. So here you get an option to choose the components that are required. So now let's say I want to put this extra allowance, and I want to put medical bonus and save. This salary structure has been created. So these are the components I have in my salary structure. You can create any number of components you want. You can add any number of components you want. You can create any number of salary structures by using those components. There are no limitations on that as long as you are on the paid subscription of Kredily. Now once the structure is created, you can go to the assign structure option, select your employees and assign the salary structure. Just click on the assign button, select the structure, put an effective date and assign it. If you want to assign this to the entire organization, you can select all of them in one shot and assign the structure. Or if you want this to be assigned only to a particular department of employees, you can select only that department and you can assign. And once all of this is done, see, this is the entire setup. The setup took about 14 minutes for us to do. Yeah, literally it only took about less than 15 minutes for us to do the setup. Now once the setup is made, system will show you a certain information which is very important for an HR administrator to know. So now system will show you the attendance and leave related information. So here system is showing me that my employees have not logged in for so and so date. Let me take December month's payroll. So it is showing that my employees are absent for so and so date. This employee is absent for 14 days, this employee for 23 days. So it is showing, this is very important for any HR administrator to know how many days the employees are present, how many days they are absent, so that accordingly they can release the salary. So system is showing me exactly that. And there is loss of pay is given to these employees as well. So now if I don't want to give any loss of pay, I can make this to 0, or you can put whatever number you want to put there. Okay, I've already processed December month's payroll, so it's not giving me an option to change that. So let's take January for that matter. So if you want to change the loss of pay for this month, you can change it. Sorry. So then the same goes with your leaves as well. System will show you a list of employees who have applied for leave for the particular month, for the current month, let's say. So these employees, or this one employee, has applied for so many leaves in the month of January, and one of the leave request is rejected, and the rest of them are still in pending state. If you want, you can take action on them. Okay, you can reject the leave requests from right here. If you want, you can even approve the leave request. There is no problem with that. And then system will also show the salary revision. So if any employee's salary has been revised in the particular month, in the current month, system will show you that this is the salary that has been revised. So as you can see, this employee Anil Sharma, the old salary of this employee was this, and the salary has been revised to this. So there is a salary increase of 17.8% in the current month. So if this is not done by you, or if this is not the right value, you can go back and make changes if you want. Then if there are any variable components in the particular month, the system will show you the variable components as well. So unfortunately, there's no variable component in this month, so it's not showing anything. And if you want to add an ad hoc component for your organization, or for any employee for that matter, you can click on add employee, and you can add a ad hoc component for that employee. Now let's say I want to give an overtime allowance for this employee of 500 rupees. So I'm going to add 500 rupees to this employee's salary. Like this, you can, okay, so the payroll has already been processed for this employee. That's why I'm not able to add. I'm really sorry. So once this is also done, you get the point. This is just to, I was just demonstrating you how to add the component there. So you can add the component there. And salary on hold is an option where you can hold your employee salaries for whatever critical reasons that could arise, right? Like your employees are absconding, or they haven't given you an update about the work that they have done. So in those cases, you will not release salary for your employees. So you will want to uh, uh, put their salaries on hold. In that case, just add an employee and change the status to hold. Now, if you want to change the status from hold back to the pay, just click on the button, the edit button, and change the status to pay. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I want to hold salary for this employee for this month. And then the last option is your tax override option. I wouldn't recommend that you override income tax, because system calculates the income tax and professional tax precisely, and you don't want to manually do anything about it. But even though there are some scenarios where companies would override income tax and professional tax for whatever reason. So in that case, you can come to tax override and you can click the edit button and override the tax for your employees by entering the value. Okay, and I don't want to make any changes over here, and same goes with PT as well. And once everything is done, your pay register is ready. So this is the pay register for the month of January. As you can see, I've already processed payroll for 3 of my employees, which I did like earlier today. Now I want to process salary for the rest of the employees. So this is one of the cool features as well. We have batch processing. Sorry. We have batch processing, which means you can process payroll for your employees at whatever time you want. For example, I can process payroll for the first 3 employees today, and the next 3 employees tomorrow, and the rest of the employees after 2 or 3 days. Now, I have processed payroll for 3 employees. I'm going to select the second set of employees, and I will run payroll for them. Okay, the payroll has been processed. Now I will also select these employees and generate payslips for them as well. So here I have the generate option. I have generated payslips for them. Some issue with my internet, please bear with me. Yeah, so as you can see, the payslip has been generated. This blue symbol here, this indicates that the payslip has been generated for my employees. And then the last option is to do the payout. Like I said, you have an option to release payouts from Kredily itself. Select your employees and hit the payout button. The payout will be processed within minutes. That's right, you don't have to send this Excel sheet or salary sheet to anybody else. You can directly release payout through Kredily itself. Then you will also get your statutory reports, your PF-ECR, your consolidation reconciliation report, consolidated net pay report, consolidated gross versus net pay report. Everything can be downloaded from Kredily itself. So this is how simple it gets, and I would say